Welcome to Japan Today Spotlight, where we take a closer look at the stories shaping Japan. I'm Jeff Richards, and in this episode, we're exploring the big question. How might Donald Trump's return to the White House as the U.S. president impact Japan? With Trump's re-election confirmed and his inauguration just 1 week away, Japan is carefully watching what a second Trump administration might mean for trade, security, and diplomatic relations. The stakes are high, and Tokyo is already working behind the scenes to figure out what's ahead. Let's dive into it. First, let's talk about why Trump's presidency is tricky to predict. As we've seen during his first term, Trump's decision-making often hinges on personal relationships and his infamous transactional diplomacy. He's not exactly a traditional politician, and his America First policy means countries like Japan may not always be at the top of his list. For Japan, there are several major concerns. One is Trump's history of targeting imports with higher tariffs. If those policies resurface, Japan's automakers and manufacturers could face significant challenges in one of their biggest export markets. Then there's Nippon Steel. Nippon Steel's proposed acquisition of U.S. Steel, a deal that Trump has opposed, even as both companies have taken legal action against the U.S. government. Outgoing President Joe Biden blocked the deal, and Trump is unlikely to reverse that decision once in office. So, while Japan may not be his immediate focus, Trump's policies could still create ripple effects for the Japanese economy. Now, beyond trade, there's the issue of security. Again, Trump's America First approach has historically included pressuring allies, including Japan, to pay more for hosting U.S. troops and to increase defense spending. There are currently 55,000 U.S. troops at 15 bases across Japan. While Japan already committed in 2022 to double its defense budget to 2% of its GDP by 2027, Trump could renew calls for further contributions, particularly as tensions with China and North Korea remain really high. On the flip side, Japan's role as a reliable U.S. partner in the Asia-Pacific region could expand under Trump. With his focus on countering China and maintaining influence on the region, a stronger U.S.-Japan alliance might be critical for Trump's goals. But how that relationship develops depends on whether Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba can forge a connection with Trump. And that brings us to a key challenge for Japan: gathering access to Trump. Since his election victory on November 6th, Ishiba has tried, unsuccessfully I might add, to arrange a meeting with Trump. There have been at least 3 attempts in November, December, and January. None have panned out. So far, their only contact has been a very brief 5-minute phone call on November 8th when Ishiba congratulated Trump on his win. Meanwhile, other leaders like those of Canada and Hungary have managed to meet with Trump, as have a few notable Japanese figures. For instance, Akie Abe, the widow of assassinated former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, had a private dinner with Trump in mid-December. And SoftBank CEO Masayoshi's son, a familiar face from Trump's first term, visited him again, promising a staggering $100 billion investment in U.S. projects over the next 4 years. These meetings highlight Trump's preference for personal relationships and high-profile deals, something that Ishiba may need to navigate carefully to ensure Japan's interests are represented. It's worth noting that Japan's previous successes with Trump were largely due to former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's efforts. Abe built a close personal relationship with Trump during his first term, famously gifting him a gold golf club and spending hours with him on the golf course. That personal diplomacy helped smooth over contentious issues like trade and the aforementioned defense spending. SoftBank's Masayoshi son also played a unique role, leveraging Trump's preference for big deals. Back in 2016, Sun promised to invest $50 billion in the U.S., creating 50,000 jobs, a move that Trump celebrated on social media. Fast forward to 2024, and Sun's follow-up pledge of $100 billion underscores how personal ties and business deals often shape Trump's diplomacy. But with Shinzo Abe no longer in the picture and Prime Minister Ishiba struggling to establish a connection, Japan's current government faces an uphill battle in developing a similar rapport. So, where does that leave Japan? Well, the road ahead is uncertain, as always. Trump's return to the White House could mean renewed pressure on trade, defense spending, and Japan's role in the Asia-Pacific. And with Ishiba yet to meet Trump in person, it's clear that Japan has some work to do to ensure its interests are heard in Washington. What do you think? Will Trump's second term reshape U.S.-Japan relations? Or will things just stay the course? Let us know in the comments or on social media. That's all for today's episode of Spotlight. Thanks for tuning in. Join us next time.